How's it rockin', Dween Nation? This is the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before we do, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, or share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
What's up, Dween Nation? This is your host, Justin Paez, alongside Genoa Agudelo, and we are back to discuss Week 18, the final week of the regular season. It's crazy to see. Obviously, fantasy football championships are mostly wrapped up, so congrats if you were able to pull it off. And if you weren't able to pull it off, hopefully you still get some money if you're in some money leagues. But yes, what a fun season this was. Now we're transitioning to the last week of the regular season, which has so many playoff implications. Then we got the playoffs. We also saw a lot of college football playoffs and bowl games. So the last few weeks have been so exhilarating, and we still got a lot of football down the line. So we're ready to discuss all of it, especially Week 18 with the only way we know how, and rapid fire game picks. But before we do, how you doing, Genoa?
Yo, Dween Nation, how you guys doing out there? I hope everybody had a fantastic holidays, a late little Merry Christmas there, and an absolute Happy New Year to you guys there. But it's not going to be a quite so Happy New Year. I would say on Monday, Justin, when it's Black Monday, and a bunch of coaches are going to be sent home, fired. And I would say we're looking at six to eight teams, maybe 5 or 6 teams that'll be looking for a head coach for sure. But this is the last week of the NFL season, so those teams that are not going to be making the playoffs, they're just going to be playing to get by. But then we have playoffs next week, Justin, which is going to get very interesting here at Dween Sports. So I'm just very excited. Justin, one of my favorite times of the year is the road to the Super Bowl. Nobody gets into it quite like I do, Justin. The Super Bowl is what we start the season for, Justin. So the road to it is just as exciting there. But yeah, the last week of the season, some divisions are kind of on the line. Some teams are just ready to go home. And so I'm excited to pick. If you want, I can go ahead and start things off for you, and we can go right ahead.
All right, let's do it. Count me down.
All right. The last rapid fire picks until next year. We got to savor this one, Justin. We got to savor this one in. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go.
I was 15-1 last week. I'm going to do even better this week. We start with Cleveland and Baltimore. And Baltimore's wanting to lock up the division. They will do so, and they get the victory there. Cincinnati's playing for their playoffs at Pittsburgh. I think Cincinnati pulls off the upset. I don't think they end up making the playoffs. I think the Broncos win. But Cincinnati keeps their playoff chances alive on Saturday night. Then we move to Sunday. We got Carolina and Atlanta. Atlanta's still fighting for a playoff. I think they win that game at home. Washington at Dallas. Washington wants a good seed in the playoffs. They get the win. Dallas isn't playing for anything. Chicago at Green Bay. Green Bay gets the win. Houston and Tennessee. Houston, I mean, what is happening to this team? I do think they pull off the win to get 10 wins on the season. Then we got Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Indy gets the victory there. Buffalo at New England. I'm going with the Bills. New York Giants at Philadelphia. There's no Hurts, no Saquon, which means I'm not going with Philadelphia. I think the Giants pull off another victory to the chagrin of all Giants fans. Are probably pissed now they don't get a top 3 or 4 pick. Then we got the Saints at the Bucks. I got the Buccaneers winning. Kansas City at Denver. Normally I would go Kansas City, but with no Mahomes, I think Bo Nix, as they're all playing for a playoff berth, Denver gets the victory. Then we got Chargers and Raiders. I got Chargers. Seahawks and Rams. I'm going with the Seahawks because the Rams already locked into the division. They might rest players. We don't even know yet. And Seahawks, they need some pride to end the season. Then we got Miami and the Jets. I go with the Dolphins. San Francisco at Arizona. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the 49ers to get the victory there. Then we end it with Sunday Night Football for the number 1 seed, Vikings, Lions. I got the Lions.
All right, Justin, 144 for your final time of the year there.
All right.
I'll be sure to remember this going into week 1 of next year, or pretty much essentially later this year in September. So I'll have this printed. I won't even touch the stopwatch. Maybe not. But yeah, okay. Some things to discuss, but I'll go ahead and go first. It should be an easier week to think of, but whenever you're ready, I'm good to go.
All right, I'll count you down. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, we start off today at 3:30. Cleveland goes to Baltimore. Give me the Ravens. They need to lock up that division. Right after that, in Pittsburgh, the Bengals visit. I'm looking at the weather here, 30 degrees with some snow there. I don't know how Joe Burrow is going to perform, but I got to go with the Bengals that are going to be red hot even in that snow, Justin. Then we go to Atlanta where they host Carolina. I would say Atlanta gets the victory, goes out. Penix has a great game, and Carolina, they want to get a good kind of target for Bryce in the draft. So keep their pick there. Dallas hosts Washington. You know what? I'm going to take the Cowboys on this one. I don't think Washington plays for much today. They're already in the playoffs, so I think they could rest. They should rest. So give me the Cowboys there. We go to Green Bay where they no matter who's playing at quarterback, they own the Bears. Give me the Packers. We go to Tennessee, where a little bit of a concerning matchup, but I'm going to pick my Texans here, and I'm going to pick them with not much confidence, but they're still my team. I'm going to go with them. Colts host Jags. Give me the Colts. Buffalo goes into New England. I think they beat the Patriots. I actually think Philadelphia wins with their backups there, beating the Giants. Tampa beats the Saints. With Denver, I think they're just going to want it more. I want to in a second. But Kansas City, I don't think they're going to play much. Give me the Broncos. Vegas hosts the Chargers. Give me the Chargers. The Rams host the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks beating the Rams backups potentially. And then the Jets host the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins to end on a good note there. Arizona against San Francisco. I'm going to go with the 49ers, actually. I don't really like what I've seen out of the Cardinals now. And then now with the Lions hosting the Vikings, it's going to be an ultimate shootout there, Justin, to end the season. But give me the Lions at home.
151. So we'll have to remember that. Bookmark it for next year as well. This week still's got a lot of good. What's up?
No, Justin, I just got to get something off my chest right here. And I wanted to say during the rapid picks, but I got a question. Bengals are hot. They win. Potentially could be in. The Chiefs playing the Broncos. The Chiefs, last loss in the playoffs, Justin. Cincinnati. Do you know where my question's headed? So my question is, if you're Kansas City, you still have a good team. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, but Carson Wentz can win you a game. Kareem Hunt can win you a game. Gray, the tight end, that's been playing better than Kelsey the last 4 to 5 weeks. Justin, do you let the Broncos win? Do you beat the Broncos? Do you let the Bengals in? Or that's just the biggest question for me right now.
Yeah, so I totally see where you're going with that. And I could see a world where the Chiefs don't want Cincinnati in, and they would love to be the reason why they're not in. I just think that the Broncos are going to go out guns blazing to get this victory at home in front of their home crowd. And if you look at it for Cincinnati, it's actually a really tough road for them to get into the playoffs. They need not only the Broncos to lose, but they need the Dolphins to lose as well, and them to win. And the Bengals have a hard matchup in and of itself. They play at Pittsburgh in a division rivalry game. So I think it's going to be just tough for Cincinnati to get themselves in. I think the Chiefs, they're probably aware that they have the Bengals playoff chances in their hands. But I think maybe they'll focus on, hey, let's make sure we're ready, for this playoff stretch. But I totally see what you're saying. And Carson Wentz is a capable backup. I know we haven't seen him in like years, but this Chiefs backups are probably just as good as some starting teams. So I think that game's going to be competitive. I still think the Chiefs will get their licks on the Broncos to try to beat them. But I just think the Broncos, they need this right here, and I think they're going to pull it off. And the pressure of Cincinnati, to me, that they pull off the victory on Saturday night, so the Broncos are like, dang, we really need to win this game today, or we might be out of this. So that's kind of my thoughts on that game. A game I think we all kind of want to talk about. You're going to be either the first seed or the fifth seed after Sunday night. What do you think about this game with Vikings and Lions?
Justin, this is going to be an absolute shootout there. If you guys don't remember, I was a little bit down in the Vikings when they're like 5-0 this year. I was a little skeptical, but you know what? I've turned it around now. I've actually warmed up on the Vikings, and I think, Justin, they are a serious contender. And Justin, the last matchup of the season is going to determine, in my opinion, who is going to the Super Bowl as the NFC, team to represent. And It literally quite could be Minnesota, because if they win, Justin, and they're the number one seed, they're gonna get the lowest remaining seed. They could get a win there at Skull. They host the NFC title game. I mean, that's a tough place to play in that crowd there. And Minnesota has the defense. They have a pretty dang good offense. I picked the Lions though, just because they're home. I just like Dan Campbell. I've had my issues with him fantasy wise in recent past, but once again, I've learned to love him. And this year, he made up. He made up. He fed Jahmyr Gibbs. He has developed this offense. It's one of the most entertaining offenses. Justin, real quick, I want to put out there a dream Super Bowl of mine. And since we're getting this all out there, a dream Super Bowl of mine. Lions Bengals would be the absolute Super Bowl I believe the NFL needs. Both offenses are absolutely on fire. Both quarterbacks, number one picks, play kind of the same. They have great arms, but just putting that out there to kind of trim things up there and to finish this part, I would say that the Lions have the upper edge, I believe, is because Gibbs is playing hot. They're home. I think Detroit. They never really had a number one seed kind of experience. I know last year they were able to host a couple playoff games, but I think that home field advantage is going to work to the best of their ability and kind of get to Sam Darnold in critical situations. I do think he's going to be able to put him on a good amount of points, though.
Yeah, no, I think this game is going to be ultra competitive. I think it's going to come down late. I think both teams scored 25 plus kind of game. I just think that last week, seeing the Vikings pull off that victory against the Packers, that kind of felt like their that was like not their Super Bowl, but like that was such a big game. Everybody's talking about it. And I think it's kind of been flipped, as you mentioned. Like there was a little stretch where the Vikings were struggling. Now they're totally back on it. Everybody's hitting on all cylinders. I'm excited. That game's going to be phenomenal. I think and you could argue the Vikings could have it just because the Lions are shorthanded. Obviously, no Montgomery. A lot of defensive pieces are not there. But I just think that the Lions they've been at the top all year, and they're gonna hold on to it. They have the gusto to do it. But yeah, and I guess last game I kind of would like to discuss is the oh my God, where is it? I want to talk about Atlanta and Tampa Bay. So those are two different games, but obviously it's like the last. I mean, that's for the division. One team's in, one team's out. Tampa Bay just has to win. Atlanta has to win, and Tampa has to lose. It looks pretty clear that the Buccaneers are probably going to pull that off because they draw the Saints at home. But for entertainment purposes, because we're fantasy guys, we love to see a lot of points scored. That's why we love to see Cincinnati somehow get into this playoffs. Just for entertainment purposes, you could argue that with Tampa Bay. What are your thoughts with those two teams in the playoffs? How they could do?
Well, I don't think a lot of people really want to see the Falcons at the moment with Penix, even though he had a pretty good outing there last week in Washington. I think it's kind of more leaning towards Baker Mayfield, who's been more on fire the last couple of weeks of the season. Bucky Irving, one of the breakouts at running back this year. Obviously, you got our guy Mike Evans, and they got some talent there to put to win some football games. Obviously, we're familiar with the Bucs. I mean, even post Tom Brady last year, they were able to win a playoff game. Went to Detroit last year; it was really close at the end. They could have been an NFC title game last year. So, and we didn't know what to expect from them going into the season with Dave Canales being gone. But the offense looked. I don't really think they missed a step from last year. Not only that, they lost Godwin, so they could have been an even better offense. Baker Mayfield could have had 7 touchdowns last week. So, I think we're more familiar with Baker Mayfield. Penix is the rookie. I don't really know if it makes a difference actually at quarterback if Kirk was playing. I just think the Falcons are a younger team as to where Todd Bowles and this Buccaneers team, they're just more experienced.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I completely agree to all words you said there. And yeah, Baker Mayfield's been good all year. He's so reliable, fun to watch. Without Chris Godwin, you mentioned, I'm all on it. This weekend, there's some dud games because, there's some teams not playing for anything, but there's some major games that we discussed that are exciting to watch today with the AFC North. All the 4 teams are showing down. You got to watch that Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game. We didn't dive into that one too much, but that game's going to be phenomenal. And then obviously Sunday night's kind of the game of the week for sure. But yeah, Dwayne Nation, those are our game predictions for Week 18, last week of the regular season. After this week, playoffs are set. We'll make our playoff predictions next week. discuss coach firings, as you mentioned, Black Monday. Things are getting intense. They're getting spicy. They're getting exciting. And that's without it, fantasy playoffs being a thing. So I'm so excited. Thank you guys for listening. We got fantasy awards to an episode that we love. This is going to be the first time we do it. MVP, LVP, Rookie of the Year, all those things for fantasy we are going to discuss in our next episode. So stay tuned. And Genoa, send us out.
Yo, Dween Nation, thank you guys for listening. This was our final rapid picks of the week. But don't get too sad there, Dween Nation. We got the NFL playoffs, which is going to require a ton of coverage. Luckily, Justin and I will be all there for it, leading on the two teams that will meet at Super Bowl 59 next month now. Wow, the season's over, but hey, it gets even better on the road to the playoffs there to the Super Bowl. So we love you guys. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year's. And peace.